I had a 200 quid bet riding on us from the start of the season, so I had more of a reason to make sure things went right. Before the game I made sure I shook the ref's hands a little too hard and a little too long, but you know, it set the mood.
I remember bringing 2 pair of boots because it was meant to piss down all morning. Before we kicked off, the clouds gathered right over us and started turning black. We kicked off early to make sure the game went ahead. We didn't even have a proper warm-up. I reckon that was the reason we got off to a shocker.
We just couldn't keep hold of the ball. They had the wind and rain behind them. It was like they had 3 extra men or something. I mean, it was hardly a team of Mavericks. Out of frustration, I went in hard on one of their over 50s near the halfway line. Being the type of morning it was, same fella drills the free kick in from there, straight into the top corner. Keeper had no chance.
We were in each other's faces during the break, screaming and shouting, trying to gear ourselves up really. It didn't work because we were 2-0 down 5 minutes into the second half. I mean, I'm not the praying type, I'm still not. But to myself in my head, I was praying for help, you know, from him upstairs. I'm not religious or nothing, but it's 200 quid.
The rain was really heavy 1 minute, and proper lashing it down, and then it just seemed to stop all at once. The clouds stayed hanging over us, but the whole area just seemed to get a bit brighter. The pitch dried out really quickly and we started to get a bit of a rhythm going. Shigsy managed to pull one back from a shot that took a massive wicked deflection. He still needed another, but it felt like the game was turning in our favour.
I started winning all the 50-50s in the middle of the park and spreading inch-perfect passes about the pitch. We had about 3 minutes left when I slid a lovely ball through for Coggo. He was one-on-one with the keeper, but before he got into the box, one of theirs brought him down. Got a straight red, and I've been scoring from worst angled free kicks all season. So I went to grab the ball, you know, make sure I was on it. Started lining everything up when I noticed this fella stood just to the side of me. I hadn't seen him during the game, I just thought he was a sub who'd wandered on or something. Then I realised he had our kit on.
Our lads started arguing about who was taking the free kick. I noticed Mad Dog had it, so he usually takes them, he usually scores some blinders. He did last season. So I was confident we had the best man on it. There was this fella standing next to Mad Dog. Kept on looking at him, then the ball, then the goal, over and over again. I hadn't seen him before, but I knew him. I know that sounds weird. I looked over at Gaffer and he was just shrugging his shoulders. I walked over to this fella, wanted to tell him to give Mad Dog some space for a bit of a run-up. I went to pat him on the back, but something stopped me. I was obviously stood right behind him, but he didn't even turn around to look at me. He was muttering something like some sort of foreign language. He just kept on looking at the ball.
The ref was still getting the wall to move back to full 10 yards and this guy just stood there with his hands on his hips. The wind had stopped when the rain did, but he had this long hair which was flowing behind him like it was still windy. It was mad. His beard was long, but it looked like he took really good care of it. And I know that sounds gay, but anyway, he was stood right by the ball, almost in Mad Dog's way. He was looking at the ball and then at the goal, just the ball and the goal back and forth. That's when I noticed he had this headband in. It looked like one of those fashionable ones, you know, with studs or pins or thorns or whatever. He was talking to himself too. Really seemed to be in a world of his own.
When we had 3 minutes plus stoppage time, we needed one more goal to clinch the league. You know, so I went to the ball resting just right. I had me run up spot on. This beardy bastard just wouldn't move. He had this silent, you know, almost smug confidence about him. The ref blows the whistle. I took me 7 steps backwards. Shouted at this fella to get out of the way. Out of nowhere, he takes a couple of steps backwards himself. Just runs at it. It's the hardest I've ever seen anyone hit a dead ball in my life. I can still remember the sound it made. It's like it took 5 seconds to make any sound at all. Anyway, he just absolutely balloons it iron wide.
I was fucking gobsmacked. I'd never seen such a shit free kick in my life. He just put his head down and sliced it fucking miles wide. I got in his face, you know, what the fucking hell was that? he started whispering, forgive me, over and over again. That's all he could say, forgive me. Or maybe I could have fucking forgave the soft fucking bastard if he didn't start fucking feeling fucking sorry for himself and got his head in the fucking game. I mean, he couldn't pass the ball in a straight line, he couldn't fucking head the ball for shit, and could he stay on side? Could he fuck? And I remember thinking to myself, where the fucking hell has this clueless fucker come from?
The last minute of stoppage time, we got most of our lads in their area. They fit clear and it falls to this weird beardy guy in the halfway line. There's still time for a big long one into the box. I mean, somebody could have got their head on it. We could have had it all square, but this guy didn't even look like a football player. His legs were too thin and he jogs like a tart. He should have knocked it back in, but instead with his first touch, he just knocked it too far in front of him. Tries to chase it, but caught his left leg with his right and he just fell over, starts crying.
So yeah, they pick it up, run down the other end, passed it round our keeper, make it 3-1. It was all over. Lost the league. Final whistle went, we were just all in shock really. Got into the dressing room, waited for this beardo to come in so he could all personally thank him for ruining our season. He never came in. We all started blaming each other for bringing him, but the truth was nobody had. He just turned up from somewhere. The gaffer eventually comes in, said he didn't have a monkey's who he was either. Who he was, where he come from, where he went, complete mystery. What he was, fucking disaster.
I don't fucking care who he was. He cost me a lot of money. A lot of fucking money.